Hey guys, what's up? This is AJ. Welcome back to another video. In this video, we are gonna see how to set up a coder UI for the on-screen health for the game. So without further ado, let's get started. So guys, if you see here in the UI, under game UI, I have added a canvas, and this is set to the bottom center of the screen. And if we just switch to 2D mode, yeah, you can see it better. So this child is a component, which is an image, and it is just this health background, and this background in turn has different styles. Health foreground, which is this blue thing, that blue circle that we got going here, and border, which is border with this small little triangle. So what I have implemented here is when the player takes an attack, this border thing is going to rotate. And if you check the foreground, I have a text field called health points, which just shows how much health the player has now, and a small image, a circle called glass, which is kind of almost transparent with a dark shade at the end here. And what I have done with this is I have made it rotate throughout at a small speed, so that it will give a cool little effect. And then I have a small a rect transform here, which has these star, which are again just some images, and all these images for the background, foreground, the glass, and the stars, I have just made them in PowerPoint. So now I'm just gonna switch to PowerPoint and show you how I made them. So guys, if you can see, this is the background we were using, and if you see, it's just some circles and a rectangle. So this is a circle having this weighted dashed boundary, and this is just a circle whose color is set to normal. And I'm just gonna put this over here and put this rectangle behind it. So I think I have used a pattern fill for this rectangle, or I might have changed it to an image. So I just had this rectangle filled with a pattern, probably saved it as a picture, and then I would have just gone here, format artistic effect, and yeah, I have used this effect on it. So that's about it. Actually, I think I used this, which is just a rectangle with gradient fill. So let's say we just make a rectangle here. Actually, texture fill, and I think I have used this. Then I would have saved it as a picture. Then I just imported that picture and color set to grayish and set it like this. Maybe set the brightness down a little bit, and voila, you got the same kind of rectangle we have here. So that's it about the background. For this little circle which we use as class, I have just inserted a shape circle and format shapes, gradient fill, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I kind of adjusted the transparency and stuff a little bit. Would have probably went with a black outline and set the weight to, yeah, that's pretty much it for glass. And for the foreground, I think I have just used this red circle, saved it as a picture, taken it out one more time. So we have this. Now we can go ahead and use this to get that bright light kind of in the middle. Set the corrections to this and maybe add an artistic like this. Probably not this. Probably save it a picture again. And got the picture back. Then went down here, made it like this. And saved it one last time. Insert picture. This is not it. Insert picture. Yeah. And set the artistic view to this so that we get this kind of effect. And I just did it with blue. For the stars, I just went to insert shapes, and here you got the star. And I just sized it to 0.5, and set the color to white and no outline. So yeah, then once back in Unity, I have just imported all these images, and when you import them, they should be that would be set to default. I have changed it to sprite 2D and UI so that we can use them for images. And yeah, that's about it. So guys, once you set all these images up, one thing you want to change is in the foreground. You want to set the image type to filled. It's going to be probably simple in the beginning. You want to set it to filled, and here I think it's going to be radial 90 or 360, which just makes it go like this. Okay, that's 90. Yeah, it would probably be radial 360 as a default. You want to set it to vertical so that we have this kind of effect when we are reducing the health points of the player. Now let's go to the script before we do all this. So in the scripts folder, I have created a script called help UI inside the UI folder. Yeah. So let's open it up and go through the code together. So guys, in the help UI script, I have an instance of health, and I have a method to set the health up. So here we just got set player health. It is taking in a variable called health, and it is just setting the health field in this script over here to the health that is passed down. And what we call this is from the characters script. So if you remember, we kind of set the characters script up in a previous video, or check that out if you want to. So what I have added in here is I have added a new field called health UI of type health UI in the characters script, and health UI is going to be calling set player health of the first element in this players list, because since we are just working on single player game now, we will make it a multiplayer in the future, but right now in this scene we got only one player at a time. So the player at the 0th element is going to be the nearest player, so that's why I have used the health component of that player here. And here in the health UI, I have just passed on the health component of the nearest player to set the health component in here. And I think since the character script is in the scene and is something that is static, we could just drag and drop the health UI onto this field from the Unity editor and we'll be good. Now in the health UI script, the working on the fill amount is kind of easy, because we just gotta check if health is null or not, and if it is not null, because when we begin the game we don't have a health, we want the character to give us the health. So that should take a small amount of time. So in the beginning, we are gonna have null for health, which is gonna throw an error if we use health right away. That's why I'm gonna check if health is not null, and only then come here and set the foreground fill amount to mathf.maximum of health.get health factor. So if you remember, we set this method up in the health script in a previous video, and this is just gonna give health points divided by the maximum health. And yeah, what mathf.max gives us, it is gonna give the maximum value of these two numbers. So we don't want our health to go below 0, that is negative numbers. That's why we have used mathf.max to set the fill amount, because the fill amount range, if you have noticed in the UI, is from 0 to 1. Then we have a health point text field over here, which is kind of the text field I showed you in the Unity editor. So we gotta set that up. So in the health script, I have created a new method to get the health. So if you go here, it is just gonna round off the health points in the health script, because it is a float. So we are gonna need to round that to an integer and send it to the health UI, so that we can use it to set up the health points text field. And since this is an integer, we have to kind of use toString to convert into a string so that we can use it for the text field. Then let's just forget about this line for right now. And yeah, if you see here, we have a check to see if the health, the get health method, what the get health method from the health is returning, and what the health point field has. So if you see here, we have a float called the health point. Actually, I haven't set that up anywhere. I haven't given it a default value anywhere. So here what it does is it's just gonna check if health.getHealth is not equal to health point, and since health point is gonna be 0 because we haven't given it anything, so I guess it's gonna be 0 as a default. So when it is 0, we're gonna call this method, which is rotate knob, and this method is gonna be called not just when health points is 0. It's gonna call it every time that health.getHealth is gonna return something that is not equal to the health points. And we got a small coroutine over here called update health. Okay, so we go over here, we have the update health, and it's just gonna wait for a few seconds. To here, you can give whatever you want. If you're gonna follow this and set the health points up to health.getHealth, and in that 2 seconds that we wait for the health point to become equal to health.getHealth, we are just gonna rotate that border image which I showed you. Let's see, we go here and health border. This is the image, so it's just the border of that circle I showed you along with a small triangle over here. So that's gonna spin at the beginning when health point is not equal to health.getHealth, as well as whenever the player takes damage. So whenever the player takes damage, health point is gonna be greater than health.getHealth point. Get health, and then we're gonna call this rotate knob, and then update the health points to get health after 2 seconds. That's kind of the gist of what's going on here. So in the rotate knob method, we kind of just have knob.transform dot rotate, and by knob I just mean that that border thing we have going on. So if you see here, knob is nothing but an image, and we are gonna set this knob up just the way we set up the foreground in the Unity editor. And I'll show you when we go back to Unity. So here we just call knob.transform.rotate new vector 3. We don't want to make it rotate in the x or y axis. We just want it to rotate in z axis. That's why I have set 10 over here, and we want to do it over a period of time. So we just multiply it with time.delta time. And for the glass is just that image I showed you, kind of a transparent one with an outline and a small shade at a corner. So I have also made it spin, and the glass is just gonna spin all the time, not like the border image that we have or the node that we have. So here we just use the same kind of way, like glass dot transform, rotate 0 0 and 50, because we just wanted to spin in the z-axis. So and we wanted to be a little more faster than the border thing, so I have used 15 instead of 10. And since we want to do it over a time, again I have used time.delta time. So if you check here, glass is another image just like these foreground and node that we have here. And yeah, we are just gonna set them up in Unity editor. So that's about it for those images. Then one other effect I found kind of cool is to set and reset the alpha of the foreground image. Like in update method, I kind of made the alpha of the foreground image go from 1 to 0.3 f, and then scale it back up to 1. So what I have done for that is I have added a new field called start alpha, which is going to be set up as foreground.color.a, which is going to be 1 as a default because the alpha of the foreground image is 1. So we are going to use that to set the start alpha, and another field called alpha, which is also going to be the alpha of the foreground image as a default 1. Then we have another field called end alpha. This is where we want the alpha to go down to, or the minimum alpha that we want the foreground image to have. And once it reach the end alpha, we're going to turn up the alpha back to start alpha. So what we have here is we have another field called rounded alpha, which is just a field. You don't have to use this if you don't want to. I just use this to check the amount of alpha on the Unity editor. So what this does is system.math.round alpha comma 1. It just rounds the alpha value to 1 decimal point. And when we use system.math.round, it's going to return a double. So just to convert it to float, we just have to give float in brackets here to explicitly convert it, because I have set the rounded alpha to a float over here. Then what we have is an alpha setter, which is a boolean. So it is going to be true in the beginning as a default. And we're going to check if the alpha rounded to 1 decimal place is equal to start alpha. So in the beginning, we are gonna just set start alpha and alpha to 1, because foreground.color.a, which means alpha, is 1, and this condition is going to be true. So alpha setter is going to be true. And here I have a method to update the foreground alpha. What this does is, let's just go to implementation. Okay, yeah, here if you see, it just checks if alpha setter is true. So as I said in the beginning, it is going to be true. Then we are just going to use mathf dot lerp alpha comma end alpha to move from alpha, which is 1 at the beginning, to 0.3, because end alpha is 0.3. And since we want to do it over a period of time, we can use mathf.lerp and give time.delta time. And this 0.5 is going to be multiplied with time.delta time to give it a more smooth effect. Then we have to declare another variable called color and set that color to be foreground.color or gnb comma alpha. So since this is being called an update, it is going to update the alpha or lerp from the alpha we had in the beginning, which is 1, to the end alpha over a period of time. Then it's going to set the color to have the same color as the foreground, except for the alpha to the alpha that is being updated over here. And then we can just set the foreground color to be this color. And when you're using color, you can't just go ahead and use foreground dot color equal to new color foreground color dot r. It just doesn't work that way with Unity. So you kind of have to make this new instance of color and then send it back to foreground dot color. So yeah, and another thing we got going on here is an else, which is gonna check if the alpha has reached the end alpha. So again here we just round the alpha back to one decimal place and see if it is equal to end alpha. And once it is equal, we are going to set the alpha setter to false. And here we have an else condition, which is just going to be executed when alpha setter is false. And here, instead of looping from alpha to end alpha, we are going to loop from alpha, which is now kind of almost equal to the end alpha towards the start alpha, which is 1. Again, because we set it up over here when we set start alpha equal to foreground dot color dot a, and we just do the same thing which we did in case alpha setter equal to true, except that we are going from alpha to start alpha instead of alpha to end alpha, just the reverse process. So another thing we got going on here is setting the star images which I showed you. So we just got a transform called stars which holds all the star images. So I think I got like 5 or 6 of those star images set onto this, childed onto this stars transform. And here in start, I just use start coroutine to call set stars coroutine. In set stars, I'm just gonna set the whole stars transform dot aim object to inactive. So that's what we have here. And then I'm gonna wait for like 2 seconds. You can change the value of time you want to, and then again set it back to true. Then we are gonna iterate through all the childs in the stars transform one by one. Then for each of the child, I have set the local position to a random value between -100 and 100. Now let's say if we go back to Unity so that I can show this better. So in the glass, we have this stars, which is just a rect transform. And what this has is all these star images, which is just a white star. And I just change the color to blue. And this is childed to the glass so that it kind of looks like spinning all the time, because glass is something that is rotating all the time. So yeah, guys, stars is a transform. Then we can use transform.child count to get the maximum number of children that this stars transform has on it. And we can use stars.getChild in the ith position, set its transform.local position. Yeah, you have to use local position over here and not position, because position is gonna mean the global position. So if you set this to position and go out here in Unity, you are gonna get something like this. The stars are gonna be over here. Not within this health UI that we have. And that's because once we use the global position, it is not gonna use the position related to the parent anymore. So guys, make sure to use the local position over here. And I just set it to random range -100 to 100. And guys, for using random.range, you need to make sure that you have Unity engine.ui in your script. Unity, actually using system also has a range, but that is not the same kind of range we want over here. And then we just wait another 0.2 seconds and restart the whole coroutine again. So it again sets the game object to inactive, waits 2 seconds, sets it to active, then sets the position of all the child components, which are the stars, to random positions between minus 100 and 100 on x and y axis. And since we are talking about 2D, we have z equal to 0 over here. Then again wait for another 0.2 seconds, restart the whole process again. So I think I have explained everything that we have going on in this script. So guys, if you check the health canvas, this is where we attach the health UI script, and in the water where we have the character script setup, I have just dragged and dropped this onto this field to set up the health UI. Then in the health is going to be updated from the characters script. Foreground is going to be this image. So yeah, the knob is just going to be the health border, which is this image, this border image with a small triangle. This is what's going to spin when the character takes damage. Then what else do we have on health? Yeah, we have glass, which is this transparent kind of image. So then we have health points text, which is the text field that we have childed to the foreground, and as a default I have set it to 999. Then we got the health points. Then we have the start alpha, which is gonna be set to 1 once we hit play. And if you see here, we have the alpha setter set to 1, set to true, and yeah, actually we had the alpha setter set to true, and it was going from 0.3, I mean 1 to 0.3. Then once the alpha setter is not set anymore, it is going from 0.3 to 1, the alpha value. And then for the stars, we just have this kind of holder, if you may, the rect transform, which is getting set and reset over time using the coroutine. So that's pretty much it for the UI. And I think I have pretty much explained all the UI part, how I made the images in PowerPoint and even in Unity where I set them up. So yeah, this is kind of the cool health on-screen UI that we have going on right now. Hope you liked it. And let's say we take some damage by walking onto this lava pit, and you can see the knob or the border thing going in circle. So once we move out and we don't take any damage anymore, it's gonna stop. We can also see that the glass thing is rotating. If you watch closely, the alpha is getting set and reset, or looping from 1 to 0.3 and back. So that's kind of cool. And the stars are also just appearing and then disappearing after a few seconds. Hope you like this cool UI. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And yeah, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. That would really help me out. Until next time, see you, bye.